Hi guys, welcome back to Econ Time with SK. So grab your notebooks, your favorite cup of coffee, and let's get started. In the last video, we went over the slides on long run equilibrium. What we're going to do now is go over the long run adjustment again, but draw the graphs ourselves. Because this looks messy, let me try and draw it again for you and walk you through it, okay? Originally, let's say the market is in equilibrium. This means that all perfectly competitive firms are earning zero economic profit. That is, profit is equals to zero. So I need to first draw that. So first, let's get our upward sloping supply curve. Then let's get our downward sloping demand curve, D1. Let's call the other one S1. Okay, so we know that market is at equilibrium here at P1. And remember that the representative firm, the perfectly competitive firm, just takes that price as given and produces accordingly. So this is D1 equals to AR1 is equals to MR1. All right, let's call it that. And let's draw this upward sloping MC curve. So of course, first the firm is going to try and figure out, hey, how much should I produce? And remember, to figure out how much to produce, it always looks at where it is maximizing its profit. So it's maximizing its profit here. So it's going to be producing at Q1 because here MC is equals to MR. Now we said that, hey, you know what? This is the long run equilibrium, which means I need to draw the ATC curve. All right. Okay. So this is the ATC curve. So I try to draw it so that MC is going through the minimum. Remember, MC always intersects the ATC at this minimum point. Okay. So that's what I've tried and drawn here. Okay. So now, essentially what you're seeing is that this is P1. Well, at this particular quantity, at Q1, P1 is equals to ATC1, right? Which means that the PC firm is earning zero economic profit. So essentially, profits equals to zero here. Now, suddenly, let's say there's a shock in the market, and let's say all of a sudden demand just shoots up to D2. When demand shoots up to D2, what actually happens is that we see that the price goes up to P2. We know that, when demand goes up, it puts upward pressure on the prices. We've done this before, so price goes up. When price goes up, let's just trace it out here. And so this is D2 equals to AR2 equals to MR2. Remember, first, the firm will always try to figure out how much to produce, what is the profit maximizing quantity. We've done this again and again. So profit maximizing quantity is going to be where MC is equals to MR. So that is going to be Q2, right? Q2, because here MC is equals to MR2. Remember, this was for MR1. And also, before we forget, remember this was our original quantity. This is sort of like the interim quantity. Okay, so what happens now? So we are seeing that the new price is P2, right? So at Q2, the new price is P2. So at Q2, ATC is here at ATC2. So if I were just to draw this here, essentially what you've got is this is the positive profit that the firms are earning. Now remember, what did we say? Whenever there's positive profit, new firms will enter. And so as new firms enter, what does it do? It actually shifts your supply curve outwards. So let us actually shift the supply curve. Remember what we said, that we will continue shifting the supply curve. So new firms will continue to enter as long as there is a positive profit. So it will actually keep on shifting rightwards until it goes and hits S2. All right, so these are our short-run supply curve. So when it goes and hits S2, well, the new equilibrium is here. So let's call this A, B, C. So the new equilibrium is at C. So we're back at P1. The new output now is Q3. Well, then what it does is, so this is, again, we're back at P1. And so if you were to trace it out here, well, everything is back to how it was before. The firm's output actually increased in the middle, but then it goes back down, right? It goes back down to Q1. And here we see that at Q1, price is again equals to the average total cost. And so there's actually again normal profit. Okay. So the firm is now making normal profit, which means that no new firms are motivated to enter. And so this is the long run equilibrium, right? The firm is again as this long run equilibrium. So what do you notice? If you're looking at this figure, you see the long run equilibrium is really interesting. So long run equilibrium means that, yes, of course, MC is equals to MR, but also that price is equals to ATC. And we know that the price is also MR, right? So essentially, we can say that the long run equilibrium condition, this is the long run equilibrium condition. So that's pretty interesting, right? It's like it's the one unique case where everything is equal. All right. Um, so please don't say that, hey, because it's a long run equilibrium, so everything will equal. That's not how you look at it. Basically, what's happening is that long run or short run, firm will always be maximizing profit. So this is the profit max condition will always hold. All right. And then, of course, in the long run, it's that unique case where the firm is making a normal profit. So P equals to ATC, that's where it comes from. And then because MR is equal to AR in this unique condition, you can also just put that in here. And we know by definition P is equals to AR. So this is your long run analysis. And from here we get that in the long run, actually, this happens to be your long run supply curve. All right, that's the final conclusion. And as I told you that even though each firm goes back to producing the quantity Q1, the market output actually grows because new firms have entered. So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to see whether you actually understood what's been going on here. You're going to do, let's say, initially market is at equilibrium. Say that there's a demand shock, and let's say that demand suddenly falls. What happens to firm in the short run? Immediately, what happens? Well, there's going to be a loss. When there's a loss, what happens? Well, some firms start exiting. So basically, you want to tell me what happens in the market. All right, you want to be able to draw it. And then why don't you show that how to get to an equilibrium? So basically what the demand shock did was it threw it out of an equilibrium. So how would the structure, how would you take it back to an equilibrium condition? Okay. So we did it for the case where, suddenly the demand increases and there's an economic profit and new firms are entering. What I'm asking you to do is the reverse case, that suddenly there's a demand shock, it falls, this leads to an economic loss. If firms are making an economic loss, that means that some firms will be induced to leave the market. When that happens, supply will actually shift leftwards, and when supply shifts leftwards, well, dot, 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 do the rest of the analysis and see how you can bring about an equilibrium again. Okay, so that pretty much ends our discussion of the long run analysis. All right, guys, I shall see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.